Hello everybody. Well, the last couple of weeks have been really busy in the area of wildlife rescue and rehabilitation. So let's take a look at a few clips from the last few rescues and see how they're doing. So I'm on my way to rescue a timber rattlesnake. That's right, a timber rattlesnake. This little guy got himself into a situation where he was too close to a residential home where folks had a cat, and not only that, but they were outside quite a bit gardening and such. And so, well, you know, a rattlesnake in that situation could be very dangerous to the people, the animals, and of course to his own life. So I'm going to pick him up right now after the landowner has put him under a restraining device, basically an upside down bucket, and I'm going to catch him, put him in a bucket, and then take him a short distance away to where I can release him without having to harm him or the people where he was on the land which he was found. So let's check out this little rattlesnake and see if we can give him a hand. Okay, so I am here to pick up the snake. This is the bucket I was talking about that the landowner put down over the snake. And so I have my tools, and I'm going to hopefully this will go nice and smooth. Put the snake in this bucket and then place the top over, and then we'll be done. So let's see what we have under this bucket. Just checking behind me here. There's no snake. All right, so take a look. Yeah, just a minute ago we flipped this over and obviously there was no snake. That was a little bit disturbing. Typically they can't get out from under something like this, but this one did. Apparently it wiggled its way out. But then I got to looking around and, well, look over here. It's right down there. Yeah, sure. So it's, apparently it did escape and it crawled down here underneath this, propane tank. All right, so now it's time to catch the snake. So here we go. Let's see what we can do. There it is. It's a young snake. You can see there's a lot of taper on its rattle, so it's not a very old snake at all. And I'm from the length of the tail, I'm going to say it's a male. All right, we're going to put him in here. I don't want to support him too long on the tongs. That can be a little bit, it can be damaging if you do it too long. And that's how it's done. Now I'm going to tote this snake to a remote location, not too far from here, but far enough to where hopefully it will never come back. Okay, so I've brought the snake about 4 miles away from the capture location. 4 miles straight line distance. And I'm deep in the forest, away from areas of high human activity. And I've found a nice little area of some rocky outcrops with really great hiding spots, lots of down timber in some areas here. And I feel like this is a good spot to release the snake, to give it at least a chance at survival. Now, we know that moving timber rattlesnakes very far from their home range is never a good practice, but when the only other option is death, there's no other option. So hopefully this snake will be able to adapt to this new environment. I know this area has a good number, a good population of native timber rattlesnakes, so hopefully it will be able to integrate itself into that population without too much difficulty. So let's go ahead and release this beautiful snake. Okay, let me get a picture first before I let him go. So I've taken several images, and if the landowner ever sees this snake again, we will hopefully be able to identify it by its markings. You know, rattlesnakes' markings are basically just like our fingerprints. They are unique to each animal. Okay, we're going to let him go. Put him down here where he can crawl up under the log if he wants to. And of course he wants to. It's a safe place. Give him a chance to recover from his ordeal last night, being captured and then kept under a bucket and then captured again. You can tell he's young because of the incredible taper on his rattle. All right, little guy. Well, that's it for you. Good luck. If I was a rattlesnake and I had the choice of living in someone's backyard where traumatic experiences would happen, or living here in this beautiful forest, I think I would pick the latter. But I hope he can see it the same way I do. I hope he can adapt. All right, so I just picked up an injured eastern box turtle from a man who found it in the road after it had been hit by a car. And we're going to investigate its shell. It has a pretty bad shell fracture, and then patch the fracture. So let's take a look at the turtle now. And so here's the little turtle. He was hit by a car. You can see how his carapace was fractured here. And if you flip him over, we'll look at his belly. You can see along the, here is the hinge, and right above the hinge is the bridge. And you can see how it's crushed. And so what we're gonna have to do is rotate him back down, is we're gonna have to put a strap that will support his shell over this direction, from the top, from the carapace, then around to the bottom to the plastron, to hold everything in place while it heals. That yellowish substance coming out of the crack is antibiotic ointment. So let's do this. Okay, so we have finished applying the shell patch. We've done 3 separate layers to hold everything together, but still allow drainage out through the front crack, and then down here on the bottom it's hard to see it, but there's an area where it can drain here and in the back. And we're letting it set up now, and we may actually need to add another layer of epoxy soon. We'll determine that after this is hardened fully. Okay, so we've patched the shell. We weren't able to actually film that because there's only 2 of us and we needed all of our hands to do the work. The shell's been patched. Underneath this tape is a layer of flexible fiberglass material, and then over top of that is some epoxy. And it's a clear epoxy that it's not permanent, because this is a young turtle. He's still growing actively, he or she. It's hard to tell if it's male or female right now, it's so young. And after the glue hardens under here, I will peel the tape away and we'll be able to see the actual shell patch. I may need to add some more glue later, and we'll determine that as time goes on. But he's going to have to keep this patch on his shell for several years as it heals. It's going to take a long time for this to heal, but you can see he's really a very active young turtle. I did not patch all the way up to the front because we need to be able to get antibiotic ointment in there. And let things drain as needed. There's also the crack up here. It's going to be allowed to drain through this area once we remove the tape. But we may need to patch this later. That's a really bad injury, and it will heal. It's just going to take a lot of time. So he's a lucky little guy or girl. All right. So this is one of the 3 baby possums that we rescued recently. They're almost ready to go back into the wild. I think this is Monkey. Isn't this Monkey?
Yes.
I thought so. He's the
That's
biggest.
Monkey. He's the biggest.
He's definitely the biggest. And these 3 little babies were rescued by a very nice man in the area here who found their mother. She'd been hit by a car, and these little guys are the only survivors. They were much smaller when we got them. They're doing much better now, as you can see. Oh, there we go.
That's Pokey.
Yeah, there's Pokey. And Pokey and Monkey and Princess, they were the only, these are the only 3 Joeys from the litter that the sad, unfortunate mother had in her pouch.
Well, the only 3 that survived.
The only 3 that survived, yeah. I'm having trouble coming up with words because they're just so cute. Here we go. Look how cute.
I hope they have good balance, too.
Oh, they're possums. They have excellent balance.
Oh, so sweet. Hey there.
Little baby opossums. Now, in this country, they're called opossums, and if you go down under into Australia and New Zealand, they're called possums without the O. Very sweet. Oh, he's going to bite your nose. I'm going to have to laugh. Oh, slip.
I hope they don't slip. I can't catch them.
Oh, no, they'll hold on. They're very good at holding on.
Well, it's not like I'm a tree.
They're very grippy little creatures.
Grippy.
Here.
Are you grippy? No. Back up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you
I'll
get him.
spot him.
You got him?
Okay, here we go. Come on, there we go. And I'll put you up. Now let's take a look at the last one, Princess. This is the little Joey we're calling Princess. She's the smallest, and we were really worried about her when we first received her. She was very tiny, and we had a lot of trouble getting her to eat, but now she's eating everything in sight. And she's a little behind in her development, but she's going to be just fine. And very soon, all 3 of them we're going to put into a cage out in the forest and let them basically get used to hearing night sounds, day sounds. They're going to be left alone. We're not going to touch them, and let them become acclimated to life in the forest. And then after a couple of weeks, we will open the doors of the cage and let them go on about their way. But we will leave food out and water out for several weeks until they stop coming around. The way we're going to know if they're still coming around or not is we're going to keep I'm going to set up a camera, a motion activated game camera, and once there's no more possums, then we'll be finished. How cute they are. Oh, that was a big yawn. Very cute.
She's licking me. Girl, come here. Come here. Time for your little bath.
So what Marion's having to do is wipe her little bum, her little rear end, so that it will stimulate her to defecate and urinate, because this is exactly how a mama possum would do. She would lick its little rear to get it to use the bathroom, because the little baby doesn't have that capability yet.
There we go. Good girl. You done? She got a little pee, tiny little bits of poop.
Good.
Okay.
And now it's time to feed this little cute thing.
Come here, girl. Hey. Hey.
Oh my. She's just licking your finger.
That's good.
Yep.
At least she's...
How cute. Oh, you're getting it all over your face. Getting it all over her face.
Okay, and all over me.
Mm-hmm.
Good girl. What are you doing?
So as I said, we've had her about 2 weeks, and she has grown substantially. Her hair is filling out more.
We figured she was born around the 1st of February.
Mm-hmm. She still does not eat on her own. She'll mouth food and she'll play with it. She loves bananas, but she doesn't really know how to eat yet other than licking and sucking. So it won't be long though. She'll start eating solid food, hopefully really soon.
Her face.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, what a messy little possum. She loves that though. What she's eating is a mixture of kitten formula and a special prescription dog and cat emergency food called AD. It's given to dogs and cats when they're really in a stressed out situation. Maybe they've been injured, and veterinarians use it. Oh my gosh, what a mess.
And some banana in it.
And some banana. And she loves banana. We'll give her a piece in a minute.
Look at the mess you made.
What a messy little possum.
Look. You want to eat that? See that? Oops.
Mm-hmm. Messy little possum. She loves banana, as you can see. And she's so much stronger and healthier than she was when we first found her. She was practically on death's door when we found her. Or I should say when the folks who rescued her found her. And then called me, and I picked her up.
She looks like she's about to fall asleep.
Uh-huh.
She's barely looking right now. Oh, there we go. Now you're waking up again.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for more? Do you have another little piece?
I do.
Look at her.
Here you go.
Look. Look. Ooh. No.
Oh, you're going to lose it.
No. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Look at her. She's actually working it. I think she's figuring it out here. How to chew. Well, no, she's more still sucking.
She's sucking it
yeah,
up into
she's
her
sucking
mouth.
it into her mouth instead of biting pieces off. Although her teeth aren't really fully formed yet. They're starting to erupt a little bit.
I want a copy of this video to show my class.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Very cute. Be real still. Well, she won't look up. She's just totally like... Yeah, there you go. Like, come back towards me. Oh, that's good, actually. Very cute.
Grab it in your little hands. Oh.
She's learning how to eat. Look at her go.
Not quite
Yeah, she still kind of
understanding how to pick the food up and hold it.
And she still jams her nose into it more than she bites it.
Uh-huh.
There, see, she's sucking it like sucking up milk.
You can probably hear it.
Mm-hmm. That's so cute. I would assume she's probably getting some good banana juice. Meanwhile, her face is covered in food.
Just lets you know how good it is.
Mm-hmm. Your hands are covered in food. It's funny. Of course, every time we feed her, we get absolutely covered in food, just like she does. And then she gets to spend a while cleaning herself off. Which, of course, is education for her, so that she can learn how to groom herself. Oh, she loves that. I know, it's so cute.
Did you drop it? Where'd it go? There it is.
She loves that banana. Of course, possums do have a sweet tooth, so here comes our little possum. I mean dog.
You're dropping it. Oh, there it is. It's in her mouth. Look.
Oh, look. Oh, that's so funny.
She has AD all over her face.
Yeah. Look at that. That is the funniest thing. She's just trying her best to suck that into her mouth like milk. Good training, though.
Good girl. I know. She's sleepy.
I think she's sleepy.
Look at her, how sleepy she is.
Well, it is, it is her nighttime right now.
It's exhausting to have to.
Look at her doing like kitty biscuits, kind of how cats do when they're nursing. I wonder if possums do the same thing.
I bet they do.
Yeah, probably to stimulate the mother to produce more milk.
Are you trying to wipe it off your face? There we go.
Slurp, slurp.
Did you get it? Yeah, she's still sucking it.
I can't see her anymore. Oh, I'm going to spill this over.
She really wants that last little bit.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to lose it.
It's right there. It's right there. Look. Here it is. Here it is. Right there. Right there. Yum, yum, yum.
She got it. Banana.
Look at her.
Oh my gosh, look at her go.
Possum biscuits. Kind of tickles. I think you got it all, baby. There's a tiny little bit left. Right there. Right there. You missed it. You missed it. There it is. Got it.
She's covered in food. It's so funny. She's so after that banana.
Look at her little grabby paws.
Mm-hmm.
I think she must still have a tiny little bit in her mouth that she's gumming.
Yeah. Looks that way.
Can you see her mouth moving?
Uh-huh.
She really wants nurse.
Yeah, it's so cute. And so sad that her mama was killed. But we'll do our best to get her up, to raise her up until she's ready to be released, and then we'll let her go near where she was found.
Okay, bedtime again. You're about to fall asleep.
I think she is.
All right. You go in here and groom and go to sleep, okay? Nap time. Nap time.
she's going to groom herself, clean her little feet, and we'll leave her alone. Come back and feed her in another couple of hours.
Okay, this is Pharaoh. He has a very bad case of scale rot on his belly, probably caused by thermal burn, and mouth rot. And we're treating him. Ever since yesterday when we first got him back, this is how his belly looks right now. We cleaned away all of the dead and rotten scales that we could, and the scabs. And you can still see he has a lot of the blistering on a lot of the scales that we have to be careful not to bust the blisters. We're soaking him in iodine.
Yeah, betadine.
Betadine bath. You can see where his vent is. It's very scabbed. Those scales are rotted right at the edge of his vent. He was so badly sick that he was at the time we got him back, he was trying to shed, but I had to start helping him shed, and I realized when I did that he had 3 to 4 shed layers underneath that he never was able to successfully shed. So we had to shed all of that for him, and we pretty much got all of that off now, and he's looking much prettier than he did, and he's certainly able to move around better than he was. But as you can see, his mouth is definitely affected.
Yeah.
He's drinking, but we haven't yet tried to feed him anything.
We're going to start him on injectable antibiotics, as well as we're coating him with a topical antibiotic every day and giving him a warm soak every day. And really, he does look a lot better than just 24 hours ago.
Mostly because we've removed all of the dead tissue that was all over his belly.
Yeah.
But he's not moving around normally or anything yet.
No.
And all of his blisters. I mean, he has hundreds of blisters all over his belly.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're filled with pus.
And all of these areas were rotted so deeply, and they had made huge scabs. Some of those came off when we peeled all of those 3 and 4 layers of shed away.
Yeah, it's really sad. So if you get a pet snake, be sure you do your research and know the requirements of the snake, its habitat, before you do anything like this. I should say before you get a pet snake, so that this will not happen.
Right. And this probably just happened because someone didn't monitor the temperature of his heating pad on the bottom of the cage, and it ended up burning his belly pretty much all along the length.
Right. And what I think happened was the heating pad malfunctioned and got hotter than it was supposed to. And he was laying on the heating pad because it was the warmest spot in the tank. If he moved off of that, he would get cool. So he had no choice, if he wanted to be warm, but lay on the warm area above the heating pad. And since it was malfunctioning, he didn't move because he needed the heat. But see, snakes interpret heat differently than we do, and he didn't know that he needed to move.
Okay, it's time for your iodine bath.
Yep. So we've put him in a 10-gallon aquarium with about 3.5 inches of water, and the water has in it some betadine solution. We mix it up to where it's about the color of weak tea, and that gives it about the right concentration for killing germs but not harming the animal. We'll stay in there about an hour. Little medicated sauna.